What up, what up, what up, what is happening, good people? Welcome to this edition of Herb and Two alongside the legendary Toussaint Warner. My name is Herb Howard. This is where we get together and talk about issues that currently impact the black community. It is the perfect intersection of intellect and thuggery. My name is Herb. His name is Two. Two, what's happening, good brother?
What's up, family? I'm blessed and highly favored, man. I'm a little tired, but I'm good money.
I can dig it, man. Let's not delay the introduction of our guest, man. We got good brother Gary Lewis here hanging out with us. He of I Am Dad 365. Gary, what's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. I can't complain at all.
Appreciate you taking the time to come down here and chop it up with us, man. I know you've been real busy, not only growing the mission, growing the purpose, but just expanding everything that comes with it, man. I do want to say sorry to the bullshit that went down at the shop too, man. I know the shop was vandalized and people broke in and did some foolishness with that, man. How was that going? I mean, it's clearly a terrible thing, but in terms of, the bounce back.
Well, just happened last night. I'm much more in a much better place, than I was prior to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just happened. Someone broke into my location. I just opened up on the 17th. I had the grand opening.
Yeah, congratulations on that, man.
The brother too was present, and we had the mayor present. And for it to be destroyed today, I ain't gonna say destroyed.
Yeah,
but,
that ain't the word.
Yeah. But to be vandalized, as you stated, it just motivates me now. I'm more motivated. Sometimes, situations like that can, kind of like
discourage and derail.
Discourage you. But it surprisingly it do the opposite for me. I think it's the opportunity to really focus in on our boys, our youth, because it was two young guys.
Oh, you know who did it?
No. We just they looked at the camera footage.
Oh, okay.
And they saw that one young kid on the footage is watching out, and the other guy take a brick, hit it one time, it didn't bust, hit it again, it woke the neighbor up because his car had just got broken in.
Right.
So the neighbor, was startled. He looked out the window and saw that, they breaking into my place. So he picked up the phone and called me, because I try to be neighborly, so I make sure everybody got my number, and make sure that, people can access me, and for whatever reason, not just for me,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the neighbor called me at about 11:20, and he don't call me that late. So I kind of already knew something must have happened with my business, because that's where my business is. So I picked up the phone. He said, "Hey man, somebody breaking into your place. I just called the police, and I'm about to go down." I say, "Hey man, I'm on my way, man." And I hung up the phone.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate, man. Hope the damages weren't too severe. Hope it wasn't too big of a setback. It's unfortunate, especially when you're trying to do things to benefit the very people, right?
Yeah. And since you spoke on that, I was asked a question today, right, by one of my mentors, somebody I look up to.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that if the cops would have had the kids in there, what would have been your response? I tell you, I'd have told the police, take the cuffs off them, and just, let me talk to them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like our youths need the guidance. They need the leadership. They need the mentorship. A lot of times we'd be ready to just throw them to the wolves. And these guys are soldiers, because I see me in them. This was me just yesterday, I must admit.
So let me ask you this then, man, because that's something that a topic that we've broached several times here in this conversation. And it's just this idea, this balance that needs to be sought between the understanding, the compassion, the forgiveness, the guidance, versus the, hey, little nigga, you tweaking.
Right.
Like you need your hand smacked a little bit. You know what I mean? And trying to find that balance between two. I mean, we were talking about some white boy had wilded out and tweaked and did something, and you would ask me, how would I go about it? and I didn't even have an answer. You know what I mean? For in terms of how I would go at the young white boy for whatever he had done.
Right.
And my natural response for how I would go at the young black boys for some of the things they do is exactly what you just said. Like, nah, let them go. Let me holler at them. Let's build something else. But also, some of them is just like, bruh, you're going against everything we standing for, and I don't know how to find that balance.
And guess what, though? You are speaking to the ones that's hurt the most.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, hurt people do what?
Hurt people.
They hurt people. So, of course, a lot of our boys, due to the fathers being taken out of the picture, whether it's incarceration, whether it's death, whether the hospitalization, whether it's the dude strung out, a lot of times they've been getting this motherly love.
Mm-hmm.
This unconditional. We got beautiful moms.
Yeah.
They've been getting this unconditional motherly love, and they haven't, like you said, they haven't been getting that balance. Naturally, I was taken out of my son's life. I had 2 boys, and at the age of 21, I went to federal prison.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids kind of ran wild. And when I came back home 10 years later, the one was 3. He's 13 now. The one that was 5, he's 15 now.
Those are big jumps.
Yeah, but
Specifically those ages.
But I want to mention my presence, my mere presence, changed a lot of things without me even getting physical or even saying a word.
2 references, the elephant study they did. It was elephants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Study they did with some elephants and pack of elephants, whatever you call a bunch of elephants, had been experiencing all this turmoil. And the young elephants just wilding out, doing whatever the hell they want to do. It didn't have a male elephant, an adult male elephant in the pack. They put one in there.
Big difference.
And without any extra foolishness.
Look at that.
Everything just straightened itself
Look at
out.
that. Look at that.
You know what I mean? We're not going to really play these games like that.
They call that the natural order of things.
Yeah.
So, hearing that story about the break-in and your response to how you would have dealt with the young guys who did it, was that kind of the impetus of what brought about I Am Dad 365? Like, how did that come about? What's the story behind it?
Well, the story
and what is it in totality? Like, explain to the audience what I Am Dad 365.
I Am Dad 365 is self-explanatory. It ain't a whole lot of cut you can put on it, right? We saying that all men are dads 365 days out of a year, because it takes a village to raise a child. So regardless of biological relations, you are a dad. You are a dad. And to answer your question, it was placed on my heart after the death of a 9-year-old kid that was murdered, that was led off the basketball court and executed in the alley.
We talking about Tyshon Lee?
Tyshon Lee. This young kid was led off the basketball court and executed. Did I know him? No. Did I know his family? No. Did I know his dad? Do I know his mother? No. But I had just had my daughter, and I just saw, like, we living in a place now where no one has any compassion for each other. White, black, blue, green, or purple. It ain't gonna make it as a race thing, right? But we living in a society right now where people take out the phone and they record you. Nobody helping you. That second that it take to get your phone could be the second that it take to, put pressure on the wound. You know what I'm saying? And that second matters. But not to get off track, but after the death of Tyshon Lee, when that situation happened, I was just at the house, and I saw the news, and I saw that on the news. And days had passed, and it had some major effects on me. I Googled where it was holding the funeral, and it said Saint Sabina. So I made it my business to attend that funeral. And when I attended that funeral, after the eulogy, I stepped to Father Michael Flager, and I said, hey, man, I want in. I want to help better my community. And that one thing led to a sit down, with, players throughout the city, far as, trying to help undo, the violence. And we came up with a program, and the program was Strong Futures. And for 4 years, not only did I help build out that program, but I was a mentor as well. And I lost 3 mentees to gun violence in 4 years. And my co-mentors, I say, hey, man, we got to change this up, man. We got to do something different, man. These guys are fatherless. And it dawned on me to, because I had already started dubbing, using that word, I am dad, because I'm always with my daughter. I take her all kind of places. It's my first daughter, My sons was teenagers, and I had just had a little girl. And quite frankly, you want to just, be a super dad, be a super, you be a hero,
It's amazing, like, how the universe works, right? Because in a lot of ways, Tyshon Lee is how we met.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Same time, our response to Tyshon Lee was we started an organization called Breaking Bread on 79th Street right after that. Because there was a lot of conversations about what was going to happen after that, right? And it wasn't just I don't want to say it was a group of men who just decided, like, nah, it ain't finna happen like that. We ain't finna have that no more. And for a couple of years, actually, but immediately following the Tyshon Lee, we probably had a good 60 brothers that they wasn't even from the 9, they just started converging on the 9 regularly. And it just so happens that it all was in concert with the Million Man March, Justice or Else March that Minister Farrakhan was going to have at the time. And me and him met at the Million Man March, with in turn folded him into what we was doing at Breaking Bread. And I think by the time, at the moment that Tyshon Lee happened, the 79th Street corridor was like the 3rd most violent corridor in the city of Chicago.
Right.
By the end of that summer, we had took it to like the 19th most violent corridor in the summer. And it wasn't like we did shit, we was just present.
Right.
Right. And we lost some boys too, still. You know what I mean? It's Chicago, it is what it is. But that impact of that incident is really what kind of connected us.
There. That's what's up, man.
And we didn't have this talk.
Not at all.
We never had this talk.
Not at all.
Rest in peace to Tyshon Lee, man.
And I got him above my door and my store. I just opened up a store, and as a reminder, stay focused.
That's amazing. His spirit live long and his impact be ever expanding. That's dope. That's dope to put those two things together. If you're not from Chicago, as J Man would say, do your homework on Tyshon Lee. Yeah, man. That's what's up. That's a cool story.
Tyshon Lee was like this generation's Yummy.
Yep.
Right. Yummy was like a national, international story. Most people know Yummy. That's not from the city. From the Tupac jail interview, and he has the poster of Yummy behind him, and he gives some conversation to Yummy. But Yummy happened when I was probably a teenager. You know what I mean?
That was wild.
But Tyshon Lee, I would assume, would have been the younger generation's version of Yummy, which is terrible. We shouldn't have no more generations of Yummies.
But unfortunately, it always is. I mean, you talk about Yummy, you talk about, what was the kid they dropped off the roof?
That was the No Children Here. That was down on in the Ida B's.
Yeah. In Chicago?
And it's Chicago too. You had the boy that they shot in Cabrini between the building. They were shooting between the buildings on his way to school. The young girl that was more recent than all of that.
You all know who Lee Allen is? He's run for a bunch of political offices.
I think so.
Lee Allen's a smooth dude, though. But Lee Allen grew up in the Ida B. So when they dropped the boy off the roof, because they dropped the little boy off the roof for some candy. Young kid. Right? He wasn't giving no candy. They threw him off the roof. Right? But Lee Allen was like 9 or 10 years old. And Lee Allen, and I can't remember his homie's name at the time, but WBZ came into the fold, gave Lee Allen a microphone and a tape recorder, and they allowed them to be court reporters just in the projects. Lee Allen won all kind of Pulitzers around that. They ended up giving him a scholarship for college. You know what I mean? It kind of took him out of that lifestyle. But his brother, who was I can't remember his name, who did the court reporter with him, kind of had a very similar story to the hood. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just very interesting to see them two.
So the killers was babies.
All of them was babies.
All of
man.
them was babies.
All of them.
What
was
ages?
We talking,
Man, it might have been 8 to 11 at best.
Wow.
12 at the most. Like, yeah, they
Yeah,
were
it was wild.
Yeah, talking about kids, man. It's unfortunate, man, but I think that when you hear, you know, the galvanizing stories of people pouring into it, I mean, you gave a glimpse into your own story and talking about, you know, going to the feds at 21 and what must come with that, you know what I mean, for a decade, and what's that like? When you come out of that, what's the mentality on that piece? Like, and I don't even mean just like on the back end. What's the mentality going through it that would even lead you to be in a space to when you come home, like, let me do something else?
Okay.
Because a lot of people go fed and come home and it's like, I'm just more connected than I was.
Next time.
Right, I got more connections now. I know the DC Blacks.
I went to college.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
Exactly. So what's the mentality on going through that, but choosing to come home and do something different?
For me, it was the grace of God, right? Nothing short of a miracle. Because I had grew up, I'm one of 18,
Okay.
right? My mother
That was
had,
getting to it, wasn't it? Damn.
my mother had 13, right? Mother and father, 18 of us. And predominantly crime family,
Yeah.
right? Everybody been to prison except one. A prison or some type of form of probation,
Sure.
right? So the advantage I had is growing up in a prison, the Robert Taylor homes, right? It was modern day prisons. So when I made it to prison, I saw all the similarities and I was shocked by it. Promise you, I was shocked by it. I'm gonna fast forward. I left USP Beaumont and went to FCI Phoenix. And the first day I was there, after doing 7 years in prison, I cried like a baby. Ask me why.
Why?
The prison looked it better than the neighborhood I was raised.
Damn.
The prison looked it better than my community. FCI Phoenix had immaculate landscaping. They had aurora palm trees when you walk out your unit to the chow hall. I was just blown away, man. You walk the track, beautiful landscaping, the mountains are beautiful. Now let me go back a little, but I wanted to give you that because that was a highlight over the whole course of my time.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. So
First time you see some beautiful shit.
oh man,
He's in the federal penitentiary.
in the prison. First time I ever got on a plane was Con Air. Federal, they shackle you down and they put you on a plane.
Yeah.
Every airport got one. We don't go through the airport, the normal way of everybody else. They roll a bus.
Gotta shake TSA up a little bit.
Yeah.
I want you to finish the story, right? I do.
Gotta shake TSA
But
up
I
a
still
little
got a
bit.
question though, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to lose this before we end the story. You got 10 piece. You got a sawbuck, and you ain't never been on the plane yet.
No. I got sentenced to 140 months, and that's the catch. The feds give you months.
Right.
They don't tell you in years. So when I got to the cell, I didn't know. At the time, I didn't know. I couldn't count. So when I sat down and did the math,
It don't sound that crazy.
yeah, it didn't sound too crazy, right? 140 months, because he could have just said 10 years and 8 months.
Right.
10 years and 11 months. But yeah, when I went to prison, I had vowed that I wasn't going to come out as I went in. That was my vow right there, because I had seen my elder brothers go to prison and come back out the same dummy they went in. So I knew I was going to prison. I knew the outcome of my actions was death or prison. And I knew God had a plan, so I knew it wasn't going to be death. I did know that. And I knew I was going to go federal because I had heard some horrible stories about state prison.
Right.
And you just sitting in the cell rotting. So I did go federal. And in there, I met some beautiful brothers. Beautiful brothers. And them brothers I credit to help my whole outlook on life. The whole perspective that I had prior to going in there.
So, you had a follow to that, or you was good on what you was on?
I'm good. Go ahead.
So it's a lot of people coming home specifically from the feds
Right.
that are.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's a beautiful thing for anybody come home that ain't done nothing heinous to nobody. You know what I mean? But a lot of them are doing like different podcasts, right? And they're doing they this happened here, this happened there, this happened here, this happened there, this happened there. And some of the people I know come on like, nah, that's the last thing I want to talk about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you come in on that in terms of all these like prison stories and tales that's going on. Everybody from like a comedian Ali Sadiq, who phenomenal storyteller, is open about his experience when he was in prison. And then you got people that's literally coming home from 50-year bids and they 60-something, 70, and they like, man, this has been going on.
Well, I mean, everybody, if you got a story, tell it. But I got released in 08, right? Mm-hmm. And I can count on my hands how many times I had conversations about prison, right? So it's not a highlight in my book, but it was something that changed my whole perspective and my whole outlook. Mm-hmm. You know, I could say it was needed, you know, and prison for me was a blessing. You know, I don't look at it as a bad thing that happened minus the time I was away from my family, right? Mm-hmm. And I went in with the mentality that it was college for me, right? I was so many states away from home. So I had to have a different perspective in order to keep my sanity. So I treated it as if it was college, right? My stomping grounds was the law library, right? I didn't hang out in the recreation areas where I seen stabbing occurring like on a hourly basis, right? I didn't run the track, you know, whereas, you know, because at certain institutions you walk in and the whole prison stare you in the face, right? And, you know, I kind of like I do it now, today. I avoid certain areas and certain people. Mm-hmm. You know, couldn't nobody tell me nothing about drugs. As I told you, I come from the Robert Taylors, right? And no, I wasn't a kingpin. And the Supreme Court apologized. I wanted to crack versus powder disparities. So I was a mule, right? And I was over sentenced according to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. You know what, though? That whole part of your story is very interesting, and it kind of defines the birthing of I Am Dad 365, even into the context of the question you asked. Mm-hmm. I think for a lot of people, going away is the first time they even have an understanding of what a father's role is in your life. Mm-hmm. Because it's the first time you get that level of discipline. It's the first time you got to abide by a real standard. Mm-hmm. It's the first time it's repercussion. They say prison is the most respectful place on the planet.
So true.
Right?
So true.
Imagine having I tell you the story all the time. I couldn't stand my father until I was 25 years old. I thought he was the worst person in the entire fucking world. Right? But why would I deal like that? Because it was rules to being in his house. Mm-hmm. Right? Legitimately, my father had a rule like, if I'm up, everybody to fuck up. Mm-hmm. Period. Mm-hmm. Right? You're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Like, you know, I talked about, and it's funny how America treats us and how we have those conversations. I ain't mad about the brothers coming home having them conversations. Everybody should. But I wish we would dig deeper into not just the psychological effects of that, but the political effects of that, and how it plays out. Right. And then how it plays out on the opposite end too. Like, well, what's happening while you not around?
Right.
Right? So the shorties who broke the window, I don't know them. Mm-hmm. But if I was a betting man, you know what I mean? If it is a daddy, maybe he too beat down to provide that level of discipline. Right? And if it is a daddy, maybe he's dealing with a mama who ain't allowing that level of discipline. We all out of whack. You know what I mean? But it's very interesting. We had Bishop Brazier on here. Mm-hmm. And Bishop Brazier, how's Bishop Brazier? 60-something, almost 70-something maybe? He said something and you caught it. Mm-hmm. I ain't never had a conversation with Bishop Brazier in my life. Mm-hmm. Right? But Herb knows my story with my father. And at 25, he becomes my best friend. Because I become grateful for all them lessons. Mm-hmm. Right?
As my sons are now.
But zero to, like my son too, he can't stand me, and I know he can't. Yeah. That's just what we gonna be for a little while. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I always told Herb, like at 25, man, this happened. And Bishop Brazier, who's a 70-year-old man, who we had never sat down and had this dialogue with, out the blue says at 25, this happens.
Right.
But all before that, me and my daddy, older Bishop Brazier, was always at odds. And her was like, it was just like light bulb when I was like, damn, too, that's what you said. And he was like, maybe that'll happen with you and your son, you know, because we always at odds. I mean, he loved me. I know he loved me. You know what I mean? I love him to death. But it's that discipline and those regiments and those rules that you're going to fight against.
Most boys
but
gonna
one day you're going to value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're not getting them, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
You become that dude that got to depend on that woman. You become that dude who's going to have to figure out an alternative way because you was not disciplined on the front end to get to where you got to get to.
Well. Flip side of that coin, right? I had amazing parents. Amazing. When I tell you amazing, my daddy was disciplined. He had worked all his life. My mom was God-fearing. She was active in the community. I don't blame, but the community had a lot to do with, what I saw, right? My exposure.
You could blame.
Yeah.
You should blame.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean about the psychology of it all, though, right? My daddy ain't saved me from shit. I did all the street shit available.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was appealing, right? But now I'm go back another step of why it was appealing, right? My daddy telling me all this shit, but my man, we ain't got heat in the winter.
Right.
Twan of them, right? Twan of them got new Cutlasses. Twan of them got new Regals. Twan of them is 18.
Yeah.
Cracking.
Fuck is you talking about, family?
Yeah, it's cracking.
And I respect you. I see you hustling hard.
Yeah.
But the math says over here it has more value, right? So even in, perspective is, we've been having this conversation around perspective too, right? Like you said, you get the fingers like, damn, you cry because this is beautiful.
Right.
Right? Now that I'm older, now I see shit from a different perspective. Like I said, I went to Beasley, right? So that's across the street from Robert Taylor. They ain't living there, so it's a different experience. You know what I mean? And I was a troubled child, so I wasn't necessarily the Beasley student. I got in trouble a whole lot, had to deal with a lot of different kind of shit, right? And then a lot of my family is from Ida B's and from Argyle, right? So I spent a lot of time in CHA housing in general just because where my family was. But I make it a point to take my children, because I still got a lot of family in the Green, in Argyle right now. I make it a point to take my children to Argyle Gardens all the time. Because outside of Argyle Gardens, I don't see real community, bro. And it bothers me. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, I recognize the beauty in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my kids recognize the beauty in this, and because of the kind of parent I am, perspective again. I mean, we go out there for the 4th or something like that, right? My wife ain't with the shit. She only there because I'm there. Otherwise, she wouldn't cross the barrier. You know what I mean? It'd never happen. She'd have never seen the inside of a CHA apartment without me in her life, right? But my kids have been out there so many times with me. They got all these cousins out here. They're accustomed to being out there. They just gone, right? And you know how it is in any of them CHA apartments. You know, they gone. Gee, once they gone, they gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's uncomfortable, but I'm comfortable, right? And perspective is everything. You know what I mean? Her perspective is guided by a media perspective of what project's supposed to be.
Fear-based.
Fear-based. My perspective of projects, not even projects, it's just community. We good.
Yeah, we had the village. We had the village. Minus, at 8 years old, I witnessed my cousin dead in a car, right across from Beasley, right in the church parking lot, right? Deal with that to this day. To this day, that trauma, right? Just now started getting help. So I really wish that someone would have took the time and say, wait a minute, he ain't been right ever since that situation, right? And so I Am Dad 365, the gist is community, the village that I seen as he testifying to, right? We got to get back there. And there's only one ingredient that is missing. It's one ingredient.
Love?
Come on, man.
That's true.
That's it, man. These babies need love, man.
How do we get to the point of not succumbing to, maybe not even succumb, Oh, that might be the right word. But for better understanding, not accepting our traumas as par for the course. I'm supposed to have seen somebody laying dead on my block by the time I was 8.
Oh man, dog, that is.
I'm supposed, but not even to the point I'm supposed to. Like it was the plan.
Yeah.
But like, of course you have.
Yeah.
You can't walk up to no black dude in Chicago of a certain age and be like,
I'm a challenge y'all though. I really am.
on what side?
All of it.
Okay, come on.
Right? So I got in trouble when I was like 15. I ended up having to go to Cedar Rapids, Iowa for a little while. I ain't never been around white people in my life, just all white people, right? With a sprinkle of black people here and there, right? And I had a very interesting experience in Iowa because I gravitated to the hood because that's just what I know. You know what I mean? I found myself in more dangerous situations in Cedar Rapids, Iowa than I ever found myself in the city of Chicago.
Okay.
And it dawned on me, I was like, damn, man, this is crazy. And I was like, why is it so crazy? And I was like, because their understanding of blackness and they understanding that even hood shit comes from television.
Right.
Right? So they reenacted Boys in the Hood. They really not living the experience of Boys in the Hood.
Okay.
Right? They don't realize when motherfuckers say cut, do get off the ground.
Right.
Right? We all grew up in the neighborhood at a time. Right? But you said the answer is love. I've had the experience of, get out of the corner, we finna do XYZ. Right? I'm not justifying XYZ, but that's love saying
100% that's love.
Go home, we finna do XYZ, right? What I say I'm gonna push back against y'all is that I think oftentimes we kind of make this like idealized world without conflict, right? Let's separate ourselves from America. Think of another country where you could make it to 15 and not see war. Like war. We ain't had war on American soil since the Civil War. Haiti, they burning niggas in the street today. Right? Those are black people. Right? Russia, the Ukraine, they're burning niggas in the street today, in the street.
Sure.
Right? Missiles is bombing cribs. Kosovo, missiles bombing. Right? We have this idealized world of it's not supposed to be any traumatic shit. What I'm saying is that the trauma happens, but you got to balance it with the love. You can't avoid the trauma. It's as natural to our design. Even let's get away from human on human violence. Let's get to the early man. You think a pack of wolves they ran through some shit and killed some people?
He going in.
They have.
Yeah.
Right? When you see 300, they send a 13-year-old boy. If you make it back, we fuck with you. If you don't, hey.
You weren't supposed to be.
Because at 13, real shit starts happening. That's the movie.
You just saying it's human nature.
I think it's just the nature of the universe, man.
Okay.
The strong survive.
I get that. I really do. Right? But I also know that I grew up in a city where here you might see 10, 12 murders in a year. Here you ain't never seen shit like that in your motherfucking life.
Right. It's true. And that could be 8 miles away.
It could be 2 miles away. You know what I mean? Like, and that different experience has to matter. It has to impact.
I think it does. But I don't think it's, I think the 10 murders a year is more normalized globally than the not knowing what a murder is. Right? And I think that it builds a certain level of understanding and character. I even think it builds a level of empathy. Right? I think the reason why let's keep it a beam, right? If you're dealing in corporate America, you get to, I'd say all the time, the biggest gangsters in this country wear suit and ties.
No doubt.
Right? Because the consequences of their gangster behavior ain't the same consequences you would reap with a real gangster.
Right.
Right? Which is why I said that Iowa shit was the most dangerous shit I've been in. Because it's from television, it's not from truth. Right? So they reenacting behavior sets that they don't understand the consequences of. And I think that's what's happening now too with our shorties. I think they're reenacting behaviors that they learning from media. It ain't like when we came up. Right? I'm not to say you don't get shot. Niggas get shot. More people get shot in our time than they time in reality.
Right.
It's more marketed. Right? But it's usually elevation to getting shot in our time.
I get what you're saying.
What about?
You probably got your ass whooped 10 times before you get shot.
There was a consequence to popping off in a nigga face.
But I don't
what the fuck you say to me? Bow.
These shorties ain't never had a fight. They just blowing you down.
So they can pop off on the internet real fast.
So they don't understand
but I don't
the
think,
middle of it.
I don't think as many kids ever in history have been getting murdered at the rate all over the U.S., right? All over the states. You know, the babies on babies killing babies.
I don't think that's terrible, right? But
I don't think that's ever been the case.
Exactly what I'm saying though. Like it's like my experience in Iowa. It's not natural. It's because we aren't operating in the natural. I'm not saying that let me be clear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not validating or advocating for violence at all. If we can have a world where it don't happen, beautiful. Right? But I think even in my time, like growing up on the South Side, perspective, man. I told you this story before. When I turned 40, me and my cousin on the phone, he called me, wished me happy birthday. And I was kind of minimizing turning 40. And he was like, no, boy, you know how many people we know that didn't make it to 40?
Right.
And we started counting out all our homies that didn't pass through violence. And we got to 50 people. People don't know that many dead people who really lived through war.
Okay.
Right? And to the post-traumatic stress, I probably got it as much as anybody else, right? Chicago's a different energy. I'm not denying none of that. But it also is why I think Chicago creates the kind of men that it creates, specifically for our culture. And I think that's what's needed for us to grow and become the I Am Dad 365.
Right.
Right? I think we got more character. I've been a lot of places. I think we got more character than most places. I think we carry it a certain level. I had some women in here a couple days ago, and they was like, the level of masculinity that men from Chicago garner is very different than anywhere else in the country. And I've had that same experience. We not the same as California dudes.
Well,
we not the same as New York dudes.
I agree with all of that, but that's not equated to murders.
I think it's equated to our understanding of the fragility of life, though.
Okay.
Right? This shit is fragile, so care about it. This shit isn't, it ain't a guarantee.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even in the California gang culture, right? Niggas hear the California inflection in their voice and they think they sweet. But them niggas fight a lot.
Yeah.
They fight way more than Chicago cats fight.
Yeah.
Right? Once it gets to a certain point here, you're going to die. And I'm not validating that. Somebody's going to die here, though. So you learn to appreciate it. You move around it differently, I think.
So let me attempt this connection then, because I feel like we all coming at the same thing from different ways. And I feel like I Am Dad 365 is a modern day infusion of what you're talking about when you talk about the structure and the rules that have gone with growing up in Chicago. So while we talk about the level of violence that we become accustomed to or the things that we've seen, it also came with this level of structure. You talk crazy to somebody, you're going to get hit in your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? You act out of order, somebody's going to put you back in your place. That was the structure of growing up in Chicago. And then at some point it's kind of lost its way, be it cutting the head off the snake or whatever. And so now these disciplines things, this having a dad, these rules, these structures no longer in place, and they kind of are needed to be.
I agree. Let me pause you parenthetically though. The pop out of the mouth, you get hit in the mouth. But there's another side of that too, where there's a level of empathy, right? There's a color structure. That ain't worth that, shorty. Chill out.
Right.
That ain't worth that, shorty. Sit down. There's none of that no more, though.
Right.
There's no balance anymore.
And that's the dad in him.
That's
right?
the daddy.
Yeah. That's the village benefiting from a dad.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Everybody benefits. Right?
Yeah.
100%.
That's real. Right. 100%. I told you the story about my own son, man. You young ball player. I heard that whole story when the little GDs came over and he wanted to hoop. They bigger than him, it's more of them. He's better than them, but they just older, bigger, stronger. He wanted to win so bad, right? And he just didn't, right? But he didn't realize he had got a victory in hooping with them. He gained their respect as this little kid.
Right.
But he was so mad that he lost, he wanted to fight everybody, right? And I'm telling him, I said, my man, if I wasn't here and you'd have swung on one of them little boys,
they would all
eight of them would have stumped your head in the ground, and you could have never came back up here. You lost the game, but you won the respect.
Right.
But if ain't nobody there to explain that to him, I'm operating off my emotions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's definitely a
Great
balance.
job.
It's definitely a balance that has to be struck when you grow up, on 95th Street. You grow up in the Hundreds. You grow up in Manor. You grow up in Robert Taylor. Like it's a different. There's value that comes with those things. You know what I mean? And you can't duck all the smoke. Like you could try. You know what I mean? But at some point, you got to pull up to them homes, and it's like, man, I'm not finna walk all the way around every time. I'm not finna run every month. I'm not finna do that. You know what I mean?
This my 46-year-old self, right? Talking now, right, with you guys.
Right.
But early on, I wasn't much smoke. I wasn't ducking.
Yeah.
I wasn't no track star. I wasn't running.
Nah.
But as you live, you learn. And the beauty of me making it 46, I get to pass all that wisdom and knowledge on. I chose the title as dad. That should be the most prestigious title.
Yeah.
In a village in Africa, the dad is
can't do nothing higher than that.
Yeah. The dad is high as it get.
Conceptually, you said I am dad is for all men, even if you don't have biological children. Where do you think adult black men, right? Where would you equate us in understanding that? Like, are we stepping up to that plate of managing those young relationships?
We are. Statistics says that black men are leading.
Fathers at a higher rate than any other.
we more in our children's lives, contrary to popular belief.
Sure.
Right? We more fathers than any nationality, any creed, any color on earth.
Sure. 100%. That's true. Right? It gets skewed by the fact that we are also the most targeted group of people.
Oh, ain't no question.
Right? So by the time they 8, 9, 10, whether they know it or not, they've been targeted in a way that 9, 10-year-old white boys are not. 9, 10-year-old Latino boys are not.
That's
9,
true.
10-year-old Asian boys are not.
That's true.
And so it creates a greater necessity for this idea of a communal dad, right? And so it's cool, right, that Herb take care of his kids. Jerry, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
But it's a lot more kids in this vacuum that don't get that.
Right.
And because ours are more targeted than others, it creates a necessity for us to step up differently than they do. So even though on the one-to-one, we showing up more than y'all. But we got so many more that's under attack than you got. It looked like we got so many that's not being fathered in the way they need to be. And it creates, again, just this necessity for men like ourselves to kind of step in and fill these voids where possible.
That's the need. That's the true need of a village. It takes a village to raise a child. Not it takes you as a dad to raise a child. No, it's a village, man. This is collectively. It's going to take us collectively to raise this kid. He can do his best right at home, right?
Yeah.
He go to work. You can step up in the street and be the father. You can catch him and say, hey, man, your dad don't play that.
Right.
Hey, get on over there, bro.
Right.
I got his back.
Right.
Now you got his back. You feel me?
No, I feel that.
Now the village is raising the kid.
I feel that 100%, Gary. That's true. Dinner time? Shall we eat? Shall we have some foods? Gary here at Herb until we play a game called Dinner Time.
Okay.
Shout out to Bum J.
Yeah, he's releasing Dinner Time too.
Shout out to Bum J. Dinner Time, you in this case, okay, pull out 2 people throughout history, dead or alive, any era, right, that you would want to join you for one dinner together. Both of them join you for one dinner together.
That's deep, man.
As you see, the tagline for the Herb and 2 podcast is intellectual thuggery.
Okay.
So of these 2 figures that you pull from any era in history, dead or alive, one must represent that of an intellect.
Yeah.
The other must represent that of a thug.
Ooh, man.
As you define each.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
As you define each. And you got to tell us why you put them 2 people together at dinner with you and what it is y'all are trying to get accomplished at this dinner.
Okay. All right. Malcolm is one right off the bat, right? And
Malcolm Jamal Warner, love him. Boom.
okay.
I'm playing.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm in the middle.
Malcolm X.
Yeah, Malcolm.
Make this shit clear. Stop playing.
Stop playing.
And you kind of shook me with the thug thing. So, thug, gangster.
So, Brother Malcolm X is the intellect.
Brother Malcolm X, Larry Hoover.
And Larry Hoover.
Larry Hoover. And I was considered an op.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But that's how much respect.
Yeah, Rukins.
That's how much respect. Mickey Cobras.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how much respect that I got for the man. Right? That's how much gangster I saw in the man. And gangster in a way, not his ring in the streets, his transition. The gangster part is the transition that he didn't get a chance to fully, as both of them equal, right? Him and Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm didn't get a chance to lay down his lick as the same as, Larry.
Yeah.
Larry didn't get a chance to lay the lick down.
Yeah.
Century 21 vote,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was an idea that was manifesting.
That full evolution was never allowed to manifest.
But you got some people, and I would have slid the chairman in there as well, Fred Hampton, right? The senior. Yeah, the senior. Because
shout out to Junior.
Them brothers, Fred specifically, was able to bring all people together.
Yeah.
Ain't never been done again in history, right?
Yeah.
Poor whites, Latinos.
Imagine the police killed that man at 21.
At 21. But
that's insane.
But no. There's
not that they killed him.
Yeah, but
that he was who he was at 21 years old.
You throw another gangster in there, J. Edgar Hoover.
I'm gonna throw another. I know we get out of here usually at this time, but I want to throw another.
I'm sorry, man. I done went off, man.
But this goes back to my point about we can't erase the toxic violence in the community.
Right.
You got to understand what you up against. Right. You got to understand what the real oppressor is. Right. Fred gets killed at 21 because Fred is aggressive enough to understand the kind of weight that his life is going to be under.
Right.
If you don't know those kind of oppositions, you don't prepare for them. That is the walk that the 13-year-old got to go out there in 300 against the wolf. That's part of life. You really can't get around it. Jesus died at 33, my G.
Ain't no way around.
You know what I mean? This is forever. You know what I mean? And there was people trying to kill him way before 33.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is par for the course.
Yeah.
It just is. The elusive part is, well, we should be peaceful. It sounds good in theory, right? But violence is when a rose breaks through the concrete or breaks through the dirt, that is violent. Fact. It is part of the process of being valued on the planet.
100%.
But I didn't quite get an opportunity to explain.
Yeah, why? Go ahead, come on.
Malcolm intellect. Malcolm intellect was that of such where he had the federal government shook, right? He had the Federal Bureau of Investigation compare him to the Messiah himself, right? That's his loyalty to his people.
Yeah.
And his intellect to transition from Detroit Red into a godlike figure.
Yeah.
Intellectually self-taught.
Yeah.
Right? So Malcolm was way before his time, Malcolm brain is to be studied.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they took his brain and took all kind of parts from it.
Yeah.
It's like a car engine, Mm-hmm. And you got a transmission that could outrun anything. You got an engine, the brain. They ain't telling us everything, but Malcolm and Larry.
Nah, I like it.
It's a good mix.
It's a dope dinner. I Am Dad 365 seeks to what?
Inspire. So I Am Dad 365 is just a light, right? It's some fire. And when you light it, it spreads.
Yeah.
You know, it's a California wildfire, and Larry quote, he said, "A sleeping giant." You know, we are sleeping giants, and all one got to do is rise up and wake us up.
Yeah.
And once we woke, we woke.
Man, let me commend your hustle too, man, because you know you 46, you just sat down for 10. Your network is incredible, right? You got a wall of celebrities and relationships. Like, how you meet all these people, man? How you get in these rooms like that?
I couldn't explain it if I tried, because I say that to say, as early as I can remember, I stuttered, I had asthma, and I had seizures. I went into a coma at the age of 11 from a seizure, epilepsy, right? I was at the Shared Aquarium on a field trip at 11. And I saw myself going out because I used to have a grandma seizures horribly. And I told the person next to me, I said, "Hey, get the teacher. I feel like a seizure coming on," right? Instead, they took me back to the school and not call the paramedics. I went into a full seizure. And they took me back to the school. So when the paramedics finally came, I was in a coma. And I was in a coma for 4.5 months.
Damn.
I say that to say.
At 11.
Yeah. I say that to say the coma was like death, right? Prison also felt like death. In each situation, I breathed life back into myself. You know, because I heard my siblings talking to me. You know, the ones that we used to fight all the time. There's 9 boys, 4 girls. So you can tell what that house looked like, right? And I mean, counting my older brothers. But I heard voices, you know, and I tell anybody, somebody in the coma, talk to him. He hear you. You know, I just pull a kid out of coma, and he had got shot in the head. You know, my buddy, I call him my cousin, but his son was shot in the head, and I went to the hospital and I talked to him, and I told everybody to talk to him, and right now he's doing great. And he said, "Yeah, I heard y'all." You know, so you know the connection that he said, me having 18 siblings or 17 siblings, I got literally everybody's personality in a bag. And I can be around you for 2 seconds, and I can pick up some energy, and I can pick up some energy from you, and I can attach your face to you. And so when I'm amongst people, because they are just people, celebrities are people. That's it. Right? And I'm amongst people, and I've developed a skill thanks to federal prison. They call me Allstate and Prophet. The 2 names they gave me, right? And Allstate because I dealt with people from all walks of life. You know, I had came out of my shell in prison. Cause prior to, you couldn't pay me to talk, man. You couldn't pay me to do nothing like this, man. You know, I couldn't. So I know God is working. But to answer that question, one time I had sat in the limousine. I didn't know it was Jay-Z limousine. I promise you, I did not. I was following some women. I'm at a concert.
I have it, ain't it?
I'm telling the truth, right? I'm at a concert, and I'm fresh out of jail. I'm swole, and I'm looking good. You know, I'm feeling good. And I was chasing this woman, right? And she was following some other women. Thinking back now, they was dancers. You know, I'm following the dancers, but I didn't know that they was dancers. So they got in the car, I got in the car. You know what I'm saying? So the girl was cool. You know, she didn't know who I was looking the part. So next thing you know, Jay-Z come in the car. I say, wow, what I done. And Jay-Z, look, zero right in on me.
What you done done? Who was
So I was just cool, man, and I just started. I can't tell you what I said. Every situation is different. I meet different people. I met Lauryn Hill for the first time, and I just told her, I said, "I love you." And I was the only one, I did not know, I was the only one again in her circle that wasn't a part of her circle, but she was A-okay. Because she looked me in my eyes, and people look you in your eyes, man. Your mouth can say whatever, man.
100%.
The eyes would never tell a lie.
100%.
The eyes would never tell a lie. And I just equate it to realness, man, you know, and I ain't the realest dude on earth. I ain't gonna never tell you that lie. But, you know, I speak from my heart, you know.
Can I ask a question from the background? You talk, too, you brought up the relationships with the celebrity, and Gary, you talking about this gift that you have, with relating to people. So how are you, or I'm not going to even say are you, but like, how are you leveraging, or are these relationships with these people that have such a large voice in our community, helping to further your mission, basically, with I Am Dad 365? Do you think that that's happening?
I never try. I never tried to, right? Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, whenever you don't put forth an effort, it happens genuinely. And that's how you know God is in the mix. Give me an example. Give her an example, right? I gave Iman Shepherd, I met him, I gave him a shirt, right? Mm-hmm. And as I do, that's why I say my giveaway, I don't think I've completed sales as much as I give away, right? So I gave Iman a shirt, and I'm looking on his page, I'm stalking his page, he say, man, I got you, man, I'm gonna wear it. Would you believe 2 years passed by, and he started a podcast, and the first day of his episode, he got on the Black and White I Am Dad 365. Blew me completely away.
Got more burn than anything on his page you get.
Yeah, who would put a shirt up for 2 years and designate it for a day? So it's out of our hands. I never give anything or do anything expecting something. As for, this is witness, right? Mm-hmm. I came with a gift. I came bearing a gift. Yeah. And that shirt, I took a picture. I posted it already. Yeah. Man, he looks absolutely beautiful in this shirt.
Yeah, you see it.
So whenever you give with no intentions, man, it's the greatest ricochet, I call it, right?
For sure.
It's the greatest boomerang effect that you would ever have, you would ever receive. Yeah. You take that boomerang, you throw it, and when it come back, man, it always do when you least expect it.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, man, it's great press. You've had Earn Your Leisure in the store. The mayor was there. I saw all the pictures on the wall. So obviously it's paying off.
But the people we don't see is the regular people that I entertain, and them are the true angels. Them are the true angels, man. I did the streets for 6 years, and a dude walked up on me and said, man, I've been watching you. Your thing that you doing is nothing short than a preacher. Nothing short of a preacher ministering to the youth or ministering to his pulpit. He said, but I watch you do it. You do it for dads. And he blew me away, man. He blew me away because this guy had paid attention to me long enough and got me to see something that I didn't see. He said, man, it's more like a ministry than you out here peddling shirts. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa. So, as time go along, God elevates me. But I never go seek out people to just, think I'm going to get, because the celebrities never did anything for me, worthy of saying, oh, man, I gave this person that. And I touch everybody. Mm-hmm. So, at this point, I'm like, wait a minute, social media is funny, man. This thing, can't really rocking with positivity. Nah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, man, I dig this. So when you understand something, and I tell people, appreciate 500 followers because they genuine and they way worthy than more than a 500,000 fake followers. Because just imagine 500 people in my little space, in my store, 500 people in this room.
Right.
That's a lot of people. But we screw up when we get caught up on other people's numbers. We get to thinking, oh man, this person got 250,000 followers. What does that mean, man? What does that mean? That means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I think that there's a balance in this world where you talk about this digital age and these numbers and this, that, and the third, and you can attach different values to it in terms of advertising and dollars and that stuff like that. But there's also this intrinsic value of being genuine and having really built a community of people who really rock with you, really support you. We've had...
I think I got that. I think I got that real people, bro.
That part. We've had open house in here. We just invited the people who really rock with us, and we was overwhelmed by the how well it was supported and attended, how many people came out to show love, and it was flowing all out into the hallway down both sides because there just wasn't enough space in here for all of the people that was like, man, we just want to come show love and appreciation for what y'all doing, man. So we feel that 100%, man. Before we get out of here, tell people where I Am Dad 365, the brick and mortar location is, and how people can keep in tune with you in general.
Well, all you got to do is wake up and touch ground. But location, physical location is 4256 South Cottage. And the website is iamdad365.com. You look at that shirt, you just put .com on it.
Love
you
it.
know, so. And I must say, the atmosphere in this place is like no other, man. When I walk up, before I even got out my car, I felt y'all presence. And now that I got through the anxiety and did the interview, man, y'all brothers of mine, man.
It's all love,
y'all
man.
brothers, man.
I like, one of my favorite things about these conversations that we get to have here on Herb and Two podcast is when people like you did before the show came on, like, man, who I'm talking, where I'm supposed to look, what I'm supposed to do. It's like, let's sit down, we're gonna have a conversation.
Just chill.
And then we're gonna chill. And then the time passed, and you like, you forgot about the cameras and the lights and the TVs and all that. It's like, nah, that, like, P back there, it's gonna look like it's how it's supposed to look. Eden did all the work, it's gonna do what it's supposed, everything, all that's gonna do what it's supposed to do. We just gonna have a conversation.
Yes, sir.
I said that to him too. I had said that to him earlier. Like, well, we're just gonna we're just gonna talk.
Just another element of community.
To watch people just sing into conversation once we talk about where you from, where I'm from, where he from. It's like, oh, okay, then we have conversations and we build this community.
Yeah, but it's
man.
the dynamics and it's the energy.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No,
the energy. I didn't had a lot of talks with folks, man, and
no, we received that. Man. I wasn't trying to block the compliment or the at least the acknowledgement of what has been built. But I'm saying is when it's genuine, it's easy.
Yes,
it's not this, you know. We
rock with the concept too, bro, and it fits with our concept.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I don't know, man. We're gonna have to talk offline or something, but we're gonna have to figure out some ways to do some partnerships around community, some stuff in the neighborhood, right?
I'm open, man.
You're right on 41st or whatever. So that really is my community at this point. You know,
my grandmother and my mother grew up right there, and you know, when that opportunity came, something just seized me, right? And I put the house on it. Literally.
90% of our grandmothers grew up there. You know, it's new for these new Chicago Negroes, right? Bronzeville means something new to these new Negroes, but the first wave of black people in the city was right there and on the west side.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Educate me, man.
Yeah.
100%. Man, Gary, appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking the time, brother.
Yes, sir.
Door is always open, man. Anytime you want to come through,
yes, sir.
Chop it up. Bring some of your youngins. They want to get some of this type of experience.
Same over at my place, man.
Chop it up. We will definitely be regulars following through over at I Am Dad. Now, y'all make sure y'all get into iamdad.com. One more time for the addresses.
I Am Dad 365, 365 days out of a year. 4256 South Cottage, and you know, right on the corner of 43rd and Cottage.
Yeah. Say less, man. We appreciate y'all for rocking. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. As always, your input was valued. Certainly appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button before you get out of here. Of course, make sure you have subscribed to the page and share it with one person that you think will find value in or add value to this particular conversation. Another special thanks to Gary Lewis, iamdad365.com, for coming through, chopping it up with us on this here day. For P, doing all the hard work behind the camera, and for E4O, that's 2. I'm Herb. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.